Welcome back to For the Love of Men podcast. My name is Courtney Shand, and I'm hosting with my dear friend, Brianna Mosier.
Hello.
The intention of this show is to bring together men and women to create healthy, polarized relationship dynamics by learning how to honor each other's natural masculine and feminine energetic core. We have been putting together some real juicy stuff for you guys today around the idea of breakups. We've kind of broken this into the phases that you go through when you go through a breakup, and we want to dive into these and break them out a little bit so that we have a little bit more nuance to work with. So before we dive in, I'm going to introduce you to my friend and myself, and then we can go.
Yes, my name is Bree. My work in the world is helping very high-achieving, successful women embrace their feminine energy and break relationship patterns, start drawing in healthy, secure partners. I do that often through means of somatic-based healing work and pleasure work, and everything that it means to be in your feminine energy. So a lot of attachment style healing, things like that, trauma work. It's really fun. That's my work in the world.
I love that. And I love helping really intelligent men embody the sense of confidence, really. Confidence, presence, and this sense of self-leadership that they're looking for to move through the dating space with a little bit more clarity. So that is my work in the world as well. Do somatic-based healing and adding some nuance and distinction to these things. I find for the highly intelligent crowd, you actually need a little more nuance. And I think that's why you are drawn to this show, is because you are looking for the space that's in between the broad brushstrokes that happen on the internet. And so we're going to talk a little bit about breakups with that lens in mind, to give you a little bit of context and a little bit of nuance so that hopefully, not next time, but if you ever need this information, it'll be tucked away.
So good.
Yeah.
So we'll start with phase one.
Yeah.
We've broken it really into what, 3 phases?
Yeah. Yeah, there's essentially 3 phases that you kind of move through as the breakup happens. The first one is this like shock, and that's when all of the emotions start flooding your system. Is there anywhere that you want to specifically talk to about this?
Yeah, I would say, okay, so I speak mostly from the perspective of supporting women through this, right? That's just my sort of bread and butter. A lot of my clients come in when they're about to leave or they just left and they're unpacking it. What I was saying to Courtney before the show, and I think you agree, is it's like harvest ground when someone's going through a breakup because everything's coming up. So I know it's shitty in the moment to feel so much, but you are opening a doorway to so much healing and cleansing and releasing when you're in that mode of just surrendering to the letting go piece, right? And all your stuff's coming up, your triggers come up, your anxiety, your questioning, your tendencies to not trust yourself, everything will arise. That is a gift. If you meaningfully work through it, better with someone you trust, like Courtney or me or a professional that's trained in relationship work, you can catapult into the best season of your life.
Yes,
like you'll get to a point where breakups are exciting. You're sad that it happened, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. And this first week, sad.
Sucks. Yeah, there's no way around that.
A few weeks, right? But eventually you'll start to see it as an opportunity. And then even preemptively, if you were to go through a breakup in the future, you're grieving and you're sad, but you also know you're not off path. It's part of your growth and expansion that you're going through it. It's good. There's good in it, even in the really hard parts. Yeah.
I love that you set the frame of that, because that is our intention with sharing this. Is obviously no one wants to go through a breakup, but the more that you resist the breakup, often this is where relationships string out longer than they're healthy. And I know one of my men, actually the teacher that introduced us, used to always say, like, I don't mind when relationships break up as a result of my coaching, because they weren't healthy to begin with. When we're holding healthy relationships as the standard, if you break up as a result of it not being healthy, it's painful. I don't want to deny that, but in terms of the bigger picture of where you're going, it wasn't going with you in that direction.
It's still a win.
Yeah. Yes. And you get to keep everything that you learned in the meantime.
It's actually just as much of a win to discern who is not your person.
Yeah.
Than to find your person. That brings you one step closer. And it takes so much courage and so much bravery to let go of that. You know, in the beginning, I will often say to clients, it's like, it is truly grief, like you would grieve if someone were really passing. Only that person is still existing, which is its unique flavor of pain, because you feel abandoned, you feel rejected, you're questioning, you know, overthinking. But you're letting go of not only a person, but also a version of yourself, and then a vision for a life that you wanted and you thought you were going to have. That is a massive amount of grief and starting over. So it really is the beginning shock and unbridled emotion. And there's really no way around. Like, you have to let that process happen.
Yeah. I remember reading that the physiological impact of a breakup is similar to a broken bone, that the body responds in a similar way to a physical injury. So whenever we're talking to people that are in this phase, it truly is like the somatic work that you need to be doing is taking care of your body, eating when you're hungry, crying when you need to cry, staying hydrated, sleeping. You'll probably sleep more, and that's okay, because your body is actually going through this like huge traumatic event with you. And the more that you can stay in your body and just take care of it, know that that is actually doing the work. There's no need to accelerate that to move through it. That's the tendency, that we want to like get through this quickly. But the reality is, the more that you can stay in your body and take care of yourself, truly the faster you will move through this. It's the slow is smooth and smooth is fast kind of philosophy.
So I heard that earlier this week again. That's so interesting. You know, they say to pay attention to things you hear in threes. I've never heard it until this week. That's, what is it? Smooth is...
Slow is smooth and smooth is fast.
Yeah. Yeah. And she was telling me I think it was her karate teacher was teaching her that.
Yeah.
Learn everything slow. Anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
When I was going through a breakup, I remember you were the one, I said to you, I am so exhausted. And you were like, well, yeah, healing takes energy. And it clicked in my brain. Oh, it takes energy for me to feel this much emotion. For some reason, I had always separated physical exertion from emotional work. And that combination, so silly, right? We do somatic work, but
no,
it just landed like, wait, this is why I'm so tired. I'm so exhausted, because mental energy is still energy that you are exerting toward your healing.
Yeah. That's funny, because I was just talking to a client about this too. Like, it will require more rest. So schedule downtime. That's understandable. And anyone who cares about you, we've all been through breakups as adults. Like, heaven forbid, it's pretty common. Most people can understand that it's uncomfortable and that you need a little bit of downtime and maybe to take things more slowly. Give yourself the same grace that you would probably extend easily to a friend during the season.
I love that.
Yeah.
Also, in the beginning phase, I would say don't try to figure out the lesson. You know, I once had a mentor who said to me, you can't know the lesson when you're in the middle of learning it. It's only in hindsight.
Yeah. And
if you take nothing else, I mean, unburden yourself from needing to have the clarity the moment it happens. You probably won't have, you are certainly not going to have all the clarity those first few weeks, because there's so much emotion coming through. If you can just let yourself be in the messy in between and not make it wrong, you're actually going to progress faster, right? Slow is fast kind of goes back to that principle.
This is actually assuming that you've been broken up with. We're talking from that lens. But when you're the one who is having to share that information that we're not going forward together, I think that's one thing that I didn't see talked about a lot. But there's a huge amount of separate emotion, grief and guilt associated with that, because it is a injury that you're knowingly inflicting, even if it is for the best of both of your intentions. There's a certain psychological piece of knowing that you're having to deliver this information that carries with it a certain level of, I'm going to say guilt just from my experience in language, but that has its own flavor of emotionality too. No less grief involved and no less waffling of like, should I have done that? Was it that bad? Could I have made it work? You're going to have a certain amount of uncertainty. And I think this is what's been coming up often with my clients lately, is this idea of certainty versus uncertainty. We don't ever get certainty. We just become more secure within ourselves to operate with more calculated not calculated risk, but we take the information that we're perceiving and we move forward with it in a way that we can feel good about. It aligns with our values, our principles, who we know ourselves to be, and we're willing to take the consequences of whatever the next step ends up being. Because the truth is we don't know what the next step is going to be until we take the one we're on. And so I think that is worth noting too, that if you're the one who had to be breaking up with or being broken up with, both sides are equally painful, but both sides kind of send you reeling mentally in the like what if camp as much as possible. Take a breath.
It's interesting. I was also in the lens of when you're the one breaking up.
Really?
And I feel like it's the same feelings. Like when I was describing the overwhelming, every time I've broken up with someone, I am so sad because I wanted that reality.
Yeah.
You know, so if you're the person moving toward the breakup, it's because you have clarity. Oh, this person isn't who I thought they were, or doesn't have capacity, or we're not compatible, all those things. And I still felt like I was grieving that person because there was so much good, you know, or that vision because I still wanted it. But it was reconciling who this person showed up as and who they revealed themselves to be and then reprocessing that. Does that make sense? I feel like it's kind of similar on both ends.
Yeah.
Only if you're being broken up with, I would imagine more rejection kind of comes up, like questioning, am I good enough? At least I see that pattern a lot with my clients of like, am I good enough? Did I cause it? What did I do wrong? Why does it never work out for me? There's a lot of like catastrophizing. But also when they're doing the breaking up, am I ever going to find my person? How did I not see it? Were there red flags that I missed? Both people are going through this reprocessing of the relationship.
Yeah. And it's like filtering through all of the like fun times and the not fun times. And usually you focus more on the fun times when you're in this season, which is its own level of anguish. But I'm really glad that you say that, because I think the difference when I think about it is the times when you're the one who's breaking up, it usually comes with you've had to kind of mentally wrap your head around it a little bit more than when it's being delivered. That's maybe the shock side, is when it's being delivered to you versus when you're the one who's had to really like sort through, is this the direction that I'm going, and do the grieving work kind of behind the scenes to bring that information forward. So has that been your experience?
Yeah. Like you're already wrapping your head around letting it go. So I almost feel like it's just a sooner processing, you know, like you took off at the starting line a little sooner.
Yeah.
So there's a level of acceptance of this is not my person, but still when you actually do it and you feel their absence,
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
it sucks.
Yeah. That space is empty.
Yeah. For both people. And maybe that's good to talk about too. Like if you're being broken up with, you might think the breaker upper is totally fine.
Yeah.
That's never been the case for me. I am torn up every time.
Yep.
Sad.
Yep.
And a sense of guilt. And also like, I really wanted that to be something that it wasn't. I wanted it to be right for me and it wasn't.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, that for sure. Ooh, so neither side, and I think that's actually really validating for both sides.
Yeah.
Neither side is the easier option. No. I think everyone assumes that the easier side is the other one, and having been on both sides, I don't think either side is easier. It sucks. It just is a painful process for it to not be going in the direction that you were hopeful for, because there's a certain amount of vulnerability that hope required of you to open your heart to envision, to dream. All of those are actually very vulnerable states to be in that allow for connection. You have to be there to allow the connection to happen. So when that's broken, it does feel like, oh.
And I think, it's such a good point. And also why someone chose to break up. Was there a violation in the relationship, right? That's its own reprocessing and healing too. So yeah, there's, I think this is a good place to talk about, like, when you're in this phase, you start trying to make sense of and kind of throw out these terms to box people into what you want them to be. We're going to do a whole episode on this because it's so important. But as humans, we want to categorize things because then we can understand it. And if we can understand it, then I can move forward and make sure it never happens again. Yeah. And so that's when we'll start, throwing out terms like this person's a narcissist, or are they emotionally abusive, or they're just emotionally unavailable, or they're emotionally avoidant. I'm speaking on all the terms that I hear from my clientele. And we want to box people in for a lot of reasons, to protect our own identity and sense of self-esteem, to try to give us clarity. I would just encourage you not to try to make sense of it when you're in the shock and unbridled emotion, and instead be with everything like a wave, Okay, today I feel this. Today I feel regret. Today I miss him. Today I think I made the wrong decision, and just don't act on any of it. Don't do anything about it.
Feel it. Don't act on it.
Just be with it. Yep. Yes. Just let it exist. And my clients will say to me like, but I miss him. I always think of, and I was laughing with Courtney about this because my breakup movie is Eat, Pray, Love. I love that movie. It's so comforting, but there is actually, it's kind of corny, but there's a scene in it where the character says, but I really miss him. And the other character says, so miss him. Send him light and love and then drop it and just miss him. And yep. I think that gives such an empowering lens to you're allowed to miss someone and not act on it. You can question your decision and not act on it.
Yep.
Can you just be with the waves of emotion? That's part of the somatic work. And if you're working with Courtney Rye, we would guide you through it every step of the way. You'd be in my WhatsApp telling me all the things that you're spiraling off about, and I'd help you make sense of it. But you don't have to do anything about these urges. They're just urges.
Yeah.
Wait for the clarity and the groundedness.
I love that. I think that what kind of came back to me when you were saying that is it's like there's a need to love too. There's a need to love and to be loved, and to give yourself the gift of the same equivalent of needing to love is like just let yourself miss him. Give yourself the gift of that. You're not squandering. Don't squander that for yourself. You don't have to act on it, obviously, but don't squander that for yourself because that is part of your healing as well. Keeping your heart open. I've actually found that in these moments when I was wrecked are the times when people actually wanted to be closer to me. There's and I think it's because like our defenses are low. We're just like surrendered in this painful experience, and the human system is just wired to connect with and comfort people who are experiencing pain like that. And so you can use this as an opportunity to let people around you in, let people care for you as well, let people pour back into you. Give yourself a moment to just be in a state of like restfulness. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Go on.
Because I think, too, the piece that what you were saying about needing to, like, categorize people, we want to blame people and we want to put it out there so that we don't have to deal with what's happening internally. Or if we don't have the resources to, or we don't know how to, or it feels completely overwhelming, then it's easier to keep it out here. But I remember a couple years ago, what hit me is, like, you will stay in this state of being kind of in the victim perspective, because it is a like requirement to have a certain amount of compassion when you have experienced injury, whether it's a psychological injury or a physical injury. It really doesn't matter. Like, you do need some tending to, and if you're not able to be with yourself that way, you require it from the outside. That's how we work, and that's where having someone like a mentor or really someone that can see from a higher perspective, even than your friends. Your friends are going to rally around you and be on, they would say, I'm on Team Courtney, or like on Team Bree. Like,
said it many times.
They're going to be on your team. So they're also probably going to be seeing through the lens of what they did to you, or what they didn't deserve you. All of these things are not actually helping you with what you're experiencing.
Well said. And oh my gosh, so many places we could go with this, especially if these are people that aren't embracing work like this, like a healthy third way forward, that tend to go in the man hate camp, right? All men are this way, or it's always women, they don't do the work. If you are relaying this information, people are assimilating it with their worldview. And then they're giving you advice from their worldview. Might feel good. It almost feels indulgent, you know? And maybe that's what you need in this phase. At some point, working with a professional and someone who can see what you're saying is bird's eye view is actually going to be way more helpful for your own growth and getting you in the relationship you really want to be in. Because continuing to make the excuses and blame only furthers you into perpetuating patterns. You actually end up continuing to choose the same type of person in a different body. Attraction patterns are my favorite thing in the world to help people break. Because once you know it, then you can just start elevating and calling in more and more aligned folks for you.
Yeah. That's it too. I don't think that the friends bashing the other person isn't actually meeting the need that you're looking for, which is usually a space of compassion where you just get to be seen and witnessed for the vulnerable experience that you're in and not necessarily have people doing anything. You just need someone to like be with you in it and to give you a little bit more clarity and a little bit of reprieve from whether that's tools or resources or just even, again, being with someone who can regulate with you. Having a grounded person next to you when you're in those moments of like really activated state is probably actually all that you're needing. So the like bashing and the hating the other person has never actually been super satisfying. There is a season where you probably do need to indulge that because you do need to come out of that space and you need to own that something has happened. It needs to be that dramatic for you to realize, oh, something's happened. I need to tend to this. But I think what people are actually looking for is that space to just be like compassionately tended to.
The phrase I always say to my friends is, you could say anything you want and I'll just pretend you didn't say it after.
Yes.
I won't hold it against you. And if you can create that with your girlfriends or your support system, that's really nice because then you can just let it out and the next day actually be intelligent about it and a little more grounded about it, and they're not going to hold on to it. Most of my clients, when they're going through breakups, come from a background of abuse or trauma. And so I think navigating those breakups is a little bit more nuanced because the anger in the beginning and the blame is actually what keeps you safe. So you do need to activate your anger, and you do need someone to not bash, but be really real with you. So a lot of my clients will be the women who let their compassion override their boundaries and make excuses for bad behavior. Which is different than what Courtney and I were just talking about. Actually, your anger in the beginning is what's going to keep you from falling prey to manipulation or being pulled back in again, or being gaslit out of your experience. So if you're in that situation, obviously working with a trusted professional mentor is going to be number one. Or if you have, so best is professional. But if you have a friend who is quite grounded and secure and she knows this, she or he knows this information, be really honest about what happened to you. I think that's the most protective thing you can do in the beginning is say, this is what happened. And then this happened. And then he said this or he did this. Because your brain, when you're trauma bonded, will kind of like fade those things out. And you're going to look at, but he was loving and he was this and he was that, and maybe he could change and maybe he could grow. And that's what kept you staying so long and accepting the mistreatment. So it's really important you start getting honest with yourself about where you were being let down or your boundaries were, you were dropping your own boundaries and they were stepping over them gladly, you know? That's part of what's going to keep you moving on and not going back. Just a little nuance.
I'm glad you added that for sure. For sure, because you do, there are probably things too that you have kept private for the opacity of the relationship. And to let people into that so that they can see like, oh, I had no idea all this was happening. Even your best friends probably have no idea what your experience was because you probably are protecting your partner to some extent. So, I think the nuance there is the discernment of who you tell that to. Are they going to like dump gasoline on the fire? Or are they actually going to help you parse it out so that you have some clarity and you can see that's dangerous over there. We don't want to go back to that. We want to stay moving in this direction.
Right. Yes, that is wrong. Yes, that is gaslighting. Yes, that is lying. You know, yes, this is circular converse. Like, you need someone to point that out so it becomes real for you if you've been in denial about the relationship.
Yeah.
Very different than breaking up with a person that you were just not compatible with, but was still a good, healthy person. You know, still secure, still available, right? Like, that's a different kind of breakup than the trauma bonded abuse. And I think you need to know that going into it.
Yeah. So good.
Yeah.
What else is speaking to you?
Last thing I would say, the pitfalls of this period. Your temptation will be to fall back into these maladaptive coping mechanisms because when feelings create really big experiences in our body and we don't yet have the capacity or bandwidth or skill set to be with it, we want to escape it. And so this is where kind of like, you would know, you'd be better to speak at this than I would, but more like avoidant attachment will come out. So if you don't know how to be with the emotion, you might lean on other things like smoking or drinking or my clientele, like attention seeking, getting back on the apps, reaching out to an ex. I want to go out and get dressed up and go drinking and feel hot and all these things. Fine as like a little reprieve. I'm down, down for breaks. But if that is the pattern, you're not going to move through the first phase and you're not going to get the wisdom. You're not going to clear it from your body and you will most likely repeat dating the same person in a different font. What comes up in your body comes up to be felt and cleared with and parsed out to take the wisdom. The feeling is not bad. You're supposed to be in your body. You're supposed to have big emotions. Numbing out from them is robbing yourself of their wisdom, which is why Courtney and I are both obsessed with somatic-based healing work. Because that's where the honey is. And then you actually move through it so much faster. When you numb out, you don't actually process those emotions. They get locked in. And then for my clientele, you end up saying things like, all men are the same. No good men exist. I'm sorry. Excuse me.
That hasn't been my experience.
The ones you're dating, there's good ones everywhere.
Yeah.
But the pain of the past will filter your present if you don't release it. You won't be able to see them. And if you're hearing this and going, wow, I've been doing that, then fill out an application because that's the work I help women with. And I know you probably do the same for men. Yeah.
I think for men, it's more that they are able to continue moving through their life because that's the way that they've been brought up. Nature, nurture, I don't want to get into that, but like they are able to just keep moving and kind of compartmentalize it just the way their brain works. It doesn't mean that it's not there. Because as soon as we get into a session and they're like, I've never shared this with anybody. And then they leave and they feel like 10 pounds lighter because there was nowhere to ever process this. So this is the path, that you need to be taking as well, and not, allowing I just talked to a client about this recently, of like your nervous system is maxed out. As long as you keep it maxed out, you're only going to be able to numb it because you can't feel anything in between. You're like on red all the time. What we need is to actually like drop back down so that you have some level of distinguishment between feeling states, or just like, am I physically tired, or am I just like revved up all the time? It's that wired and tired thing. And I think that is more often than not the case for the masculine clients, is that they are able to just keep like putting one foot in front of the other and keep doing their work, but they kind of like they're not as alive as they know that they want to be
because of the compartmentalizing.
There's this piece that's either off limits or it kind of like hinders them from moving forward. So exactly what you were saying, of like you're going to repeat the pattern, or you're going to stay closed because you don't trust that whole process, and now all women are to blame, or I just haven't been able to figure this out. And I think for a lot of times my clientele, they are really good at taking accountability, because I have some really like deep, intelligent, emotionally deep men. They're really good at taking accountability. They just take on maybe too much accountability, and they keep themselves from moving through this process as well. So a lot of times it's like reassigning who actually was accountable for that and who actually was responsible for that, and giving them some space to be able to breathe a little bit so that they can take a full breath and kind of like release some tension and some weight from themselves.
So well said. And that's the value of parsing it out with someone, you know, who has the guidance and the high level awareness to be able to say, oh, you're holding too much. That's not yours to own. Put this back over here, you know?
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah. Yeah, it's partly the somatic piece and partly that clarity. When you open up space, like now we need to distinguish some things. We've opened up the space in your nervous system. It's not all compressed and like anxious. We can create a little space, and then we need to go in and restructure some things so that it sits correctly, and you can continue moving forward in a way that feels like, wow, I can do this. This is great.
Love it.
Yeah.
Anything else on this first phase that you want to share?
I don't think so. I think I feel pretty complete here.
Yeah, me too. Moral of the story, feel your feelings. Don't do anything about them. Just be with them. It's chaos for now. The next episode, we want to talk to you about discerning what is yours, what is theirs, and some pitfalls people fall into that lead them astray on their own healing and their own growth and evolution to line up with the healthy relationship they want. Yeah, we've got some fire, so
I'm excited.
we were
for
like
that.
on the page, like taking notes. If you love the episode, please share it with someone that you think would benefit or that this would help. This whole breakup series, I think, is going to be really, really rich and more information.
Probably could have been a whole masterclass.
It could have been. Yeah, more information than even we normally give in the episode. So if you know someone going through it, please share it. If you're willing to give us a rating, that would really help us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. It helps us move forward in the charts, which matters to us. If you want more from Courtney, Courtney_Shand.
Yep, Courtney_Shand. I was going to say, leave a comment in YouTube. That also helps the algorithm know that this is something that you're enjoying, which helps it reach the right people too. And specifically, let us know what your experience has been, what you've found really helpful as you were kind of like healing through phase one. I find that the comment section, I'm loving seeing people support each other, respond to each other's comments with really helpful feedback, and just witnessing people's shares in that way. It's really heartwarming for me. So
I love the community,
Yeah.
you know, and that's what's so cool about this show is because we do have a niche healthy third way forward. I just don't know another community like that. So when you're engaging with people who aren't going to villainize the other and are just self-reflective, like how do we all get to healthy relationships? Those are, I mean, you guys are gems of human beings wanting to build that way forward, you know?
Yeah. So connect with each other.
Yeah.
These need to be the people that you're starting to make some connections with, if not in person. Just connect virtually, share a little support, own your experience. That's a way to keep it really safe in the comment section too, instead of coming at all men or all women. Own your experience. This was my experience in this situation. Here's what happened to me. This was my experience of it. Using some ownership kind of language actually helps people come around you and give you the support that you're looking for when you ask for those things.
Ooh, well said. It draws people in. So good.
Yeah.
All right.
Courtney_Shand.
Oh,
Bree.
yeah.
You can find Bree. How can they find you?
Building Bree Coaching or buildingbree.com. You can submit an application on there if you're wanting to work together. And breakups are my favorite place to work with clients in. Just saying.
Love that.
So, all right. See you in the next episode.
Bye.